कुर्बानी हुआ कि नहीं उसको तोड़ दो.
Beyond legends. Why Dashrath Manjhi is the greatest hero with proof, not myths. Why I believe he is the only one hero in human history beyond fairy tales, myths and hearsay. He left world with on-ground proof to testify his love for humanity until doomsday. Let's know who he was. The unyielding legend of Dashrath Manjhi, the mountain man who moved mountains for love. He single-handedly, for 22 continuous years, carved through a 300-foot-high mountain using only a chisel and hammer to create a 360-foot-long and 30-foot-wide path for the convenience of his village people. If Dashrath Manjhi had not carved the mountain, the villagers of Gailor would have had to travel an additional 55 kilometers, approximately 34 miles, to reach the nearest facilities in Wazirganj or the district town of Gaya, which is the nearest big city. The mountain posed a significant barrier, making it difficult for the villagers to access essential services such as healthcare, schools, and markets. Dashrath's road drastically reduced this distance, making life easier for the community and connecting them more directly to Gaya, a key city in Bihar, in the heart of India, where the ancient Gaya district of Bihar lies, surrounded by dry, rugged landscapes and scattered villages. A legend was born, a tale so extraordinary that it echoes beyond the boundaries of time and space. This is the story of Dashrath Manjhi, a man whose name, though once spoken in hushed tones, now resonates across the world as a symbol of resilience, sacrifice, and unbreakable determination. The early life of a visionary. Dashrath Manjhi was not born with a silver spoon, nor did he inherit land, wealth, or power. Born in 1929 in the humble village of Gailor, he belonged to the Musahar community, one of the most marginalized groups in India, often stigmatized as rat-eaters due to the extreme poverty that forced them to find food in whatever way they could. From an early age, Dashrath learned the harsh reality of life, with the dusty winds of Bihar and the relentless sun as constant companions. He grew up knowing what it meant to struggle. His parents were simple laborers, toiling from dawn till dusk for meager wages that never seemed to be enough. Despite the relentless hardships, Dashrath had dreams. Dreams that were, perhaps, too big for someone in his position. But fate had something far greater in store for him. Something that would make the world remember his name. Love in the shadows of the mountain. Dashrath's life took a beautiful turn when he met Falguni Devi, the love of his life. It was said that their love was as steadfast as the hills surrounding their village. Falguni was his partner in every sense. His comfort during dark nights and his courage during storms, however. Their love story was shadowed by the grim reality of their village, cut off from basic facilities due to the unforgiving Gailor Hills. The nearest town with a hospital, market, and school was Wazirganj, more than 55 kilometers away. To reach it, the villagers had to navigate a perilous path around the mountain, a journey that was not only exhausting but deadly. The mountain loomed like a silent guardian, indifferent to the cries of the villagers who lived in its shadow. A tragedy that changed everything. In 1959, a tragedy struck that would change Dashrath's life forever. One day, Falguni fell ill and needed urgent medical attention. Desperately trying to reach the nearest town, Dashrath carried her across the treacherous path. The rocks were sharp, and the journey was long and brutal. As each painful step took more out of him, Falguni's life slipped away. By the time he reached medical help, it was too late. The grief that followed was overwhelming. But out of that sorrow arose a fire in Dashrath Manjhi that would not be extinguished. While others would have succumbed to despair, Dashrath decided to take on an unimaginable mission. He would carve a path through the mountain himself. This decision was not just for Falguni but for every mother, father, and child who had suffered and would continue to suffer unless something changed. The beginning of an unthinkable journey, armed with nothing but a chisel, hammer, and sheer determination. Dashrath began his task in 1960. The villagers laughed at him, dismissing him as a madman. They could not fathom why anyone would attempt to move an entire mountain with bare hands and rudimentary tools. But Dashrath was undeterred. Day after day, Year after year, he chipped away at the mountain. He worked from sunrise until sunset, pausing only to catch his breath and wipe the sweat streaming down his weathered face. He was alone in his mission, with no support from the government or wealthy benefactors. Even his family struggled to make ends meet as Dashrath poured his time and energy into what seemed like an impossible task. Despite the ridicule, the harsh winters, and the scorching summers, he kept going. The mountain's defeat. For 22 long years, Dashrath battled against the mountain. He worked relentlessly until, in 1982, the mountain finally yielded to his indomitable will. The result was a road that was 360 feet long and 30 feet wide, cutting through the rocky terrain that had once been an insurmountable barrier. This path reduced the distance between Galore and Wazirganj from 55 kilometers to just 15 kilometers. For the first time, the villagers could access schools, markets, and hospitals without risking their lives. The recognition and support. When news of Dashrath's feat spread, people who had once mocked him began to see him as a hero. The government eventually recognized his efforts. But it was too little, too late. He received small amounts of aid and accolades. But the wealth and resources needed to uplift his family remained elusive. Dashrath never sought glory or riches. His reward was the safety and well-being of his fellow villagers. Monumental efforts with minimal tools. What made Dashrath's achievement truly phenomenal was the fact that he had accomplished it using the simplest of tools: hammers, chisels, and a crowbar. These were not the modern, mechanized tools that carved through rock with ease, but crude, manual implements that required tremendous physical strength and unwavering focus. The mountain he faced was approximately 300 feet high, a towering giant that had resisted nature's elements for millennia but fell to the persistent blows of a single man, a legacy beyond death. Dashrath Manjhi's story did not end with the completion of the road. His work caught the attention of the entire country and later the world. In 2006, he was invited to meet the then President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The encounter was brief but filled with mutual respect. The recognition was a fitting tribute. Yet Dashrath's life remained one of simplicity and poverty. He passed away on August 17, 2007, at AIIMS in New Delhi due to gallbladder cancer. He was given a state funeral by the Bihar government, and his body was laid to rest in Galore, the very village he had transformed with his bare hands. A hero's legacy and monuments. In the years following his death, Dashrath's story became a symbol of undying hope and perseverance. Statues and memorials were erected in his honor, not only in Bihar but across India. The most notable tribute is a statue in Galore, standing as a silent witness to his life's work and the road that brought salvation to his village. The Mountain Man in popular culture. Dashrath Manjhi's life inspired several films and documentaries, with the most notable being the 2015 film, Manjhi, The Mountain Man, directed by Ketan Mehta. The film captured the spirit and struggle of Manjhi's life, bringing his story to audiences who otherwise may never have known the extent of his sacrifice. Family and descendants. Though Dashrath Manjhi did not amass wealth, his story brought awareness to the plight of his family and others like them. His descendants continue to live in Galore, working and striving to maintain a decent livelihood, though government and private organizations have stepped in with assistance. The Manjhi family has seen mixed levels of support. Their current wealth is modest, and they remain a testament to the simple, hard-working spirit that Dashrath embodied. Galore, a symbol of determination. Today, Galore is more than just a village. It is a symbol of human willpower. People from various religious backgrounds, Hindus, Muslims, and others, live together in the village that stands as a testament to Dashrath's legacy. The nearest major city is Gaya, a well-connected town accessible by road, rail, and air. Visitors who wish to see the path Dashrath carved can travel from Gaya by road, a journey that itself is a tribute to the man who defied the impossible. Did Dashrath Manjhi enter the record books? While Dashrath Manjhi's name may not be found in formal world record books, his feat has etched itself into the annals of history through countless stories, articles, and features that honor his legacy. He is revered not just as a record breaker but as a breaker of barriers, both literal and figurative. Final thoughts. Dashrath Manjhi's journey is one of love, loss, and legacy. It is the story of how a man driven by grief and love became a beacon of hope and a testament to human endurance. His life teaches that the mountains we face, whether made of rock or challenges, can be conquered, not always by might but by the relentless chisel of dedication and hope. It is indeed fair and honest to say that Dashrath Manjhi stands as a unique figure in human history, whose heroism is palpably real, and whose extraordinary efforts are visible and undeniable. Unlike many legendary figures, who exist primarily within the realm of myths, tales, or semi-historical accounts, Dashrath's achievements can be touched, walked upon, and witnessed firsthand. His story is not shrouded in allegory or augmented by embellishments handed down over generations, but is instead a living testament to the human spirit's boundless potential. True heroism versus mythic valor. Many revered heroes throughout history are often celebrated through grandiose stories filled with exaggeration, supernatural feats, or symbolic representations of good triumphing over evil. Figures like Hercules, Gilgamesh, King Arthur, and even some historical warriors and rulers were attributed with divine or superhuman qualities to inspire awe. While their stories teach moral lessons, they are often laced with mythical elements and driven by personal motives such as glory, conquest, or revenge. These legendary heroes, though iconic, frequently embody ambitions that revolve around personal power, victory, or divine intervention rather than altruistic sacrifice for a broader community. Dashrath Manjhi's heroism, however, stands in stark contrast to these tales. His motivation was simple yet profound: love and empathy for those who suffered due to their isolation and lack of resources. His wife's tragic death ignited his determination, but his mission extended far beyond personal grief. It became a mission for the welfare of others, ordinary people who struggled daily under the mountain's shadow. Unlike mythical heroes, Dashrath did not possess supernatural strength, divine assistance, or a grand army to command. His tools were basic: a chisel, a hammer, and the sheer will of a human being determined to make a difference. Selflessness personified. What truly sets Dashrath apart from other heroes is the sheer selflessness of his endeavor. For 22 years, he chipped away at the mountain, often at the cost of his own well-being. He did not gain wealth or fame from his labor during those years. On the contrary, he faced ridicule, isolation, and severe physical strain. His motive was not to become celebrated or enshrined in history, but to ensure that others would not have to endure the same suffering he had. His achievement was not fueled by a desire for power, conquest, or personal legacy, but by an unwavering commitment to humanity. The road as a living monument. The path Dashrath carved through the Gailor Hills is more than a road. It is a living monument to what one person's will can achieve against overwhelming odds. Unlike grand palaces, monuments, or statues erected to celebrate rulers and warriors, this road serves a real, life-sustaining purpose. It has facilitated easier access to healthcare, education, and trade for the people of his village and neighboring regions. The fact that Dashrath's efforts have had a tangible, lasting impact is what elevates his heroism to a level rarely seen in history. The unmatched scale of selflessness. In considering selfless acts throughout human history, many are rightly remembered for their contributions to society. Teachers who fostered new generations, scientists who advanced our understanding of the world, or social leaders who fought for justice. However, most of these heroes had some level of support, recognition, or resources. Dashrath Manjhi labored largely alone, without government aid, public recognition, or any assurance that his work would ever be completed or appreciated. His work was not motivated by religious fervor, nationalistic pride, or a command from above, but by an innate sense of duty to those around him. For 22 years, he worked without compensation, rewards, or acknowledgement, driven by the conviction that no one else should suffer as his wife had. This level of unwavering dedication performed without expectation of fame or fortune, is what makes Dashrath's story unparalleled. Recognition and legacy. While many mythic and real-life heroes are remembered in history books or epic tales, Dashrath's legacy is etched into the rugged terrain of Bihar, where anyone can walk along the path he carved and reflect on what it represents. His recognition came late in life, and only after his death did his story receive the wider acclaim it deserved. Yet, his work stands as a reminder of what one person can achieve through resilience and compassion. In comparison, many celebrated historical figures are shrouded in narratives that may serve certain political, cultural, or ideological purposes. Their stories often come with complexities, whether they were conquerors who brought suffering alongside progress or leaders whose motivations included power and legacy. Dashrath's story, by contrast, is clear and unblemished by ulterior motives. Estimating the cost and time it would take for a government project to carve a mountain similar to what Dashrath Manjhi accomplished involves several factors, including labor costs, machinery, materials, and logistical expenses. Here's an approximate breakdown. 1. Labor and machinery costs. Labor. Government projects involve a team of skilled and unskilled workers, engineers, and supervisors. Daily wages for laborers and professionals vary, but for an estimate, skilled labor costs, engineers, machine operators, 1,000 rupees to 3,000 rupees per day per person. Unskilled labor costs, 300 rupees to 600 rupees per day per person. Machinery and equipment. Using modern excavation equipment such as bulldozers, excavators, and rock drills would significantly increase the cost. Equipment rental. Approximately 20,000 rupees to 50,000 rupees per day for heavy machinery. 2. Estimated time frame. Using modern excavation methods, a project like this might take around 2 to 3 years to complete, considering factors such as planning, logistics, and actual excavation work. Delays due to weather conditions, geological challenges, and bureaucratic procedures could extend this time. 3. Cost estimate. To break down the total estimated cost. Labor cost. Assuming a workforce of 50 to 100 people working over 2 years, the labor cost could be: skilled workers, 2,000 rupees per day * 10 workers * 730 days, equals 14.6 million rupees. Unskilled workers, 500 rupees per day * 50 workers * 730 days, equals 18.25 million rupees. Machinery cost, 35,000 rupees per day * 730 days, equals 25.55 million rupees. Total estimated cost in Indian rupees, 58.4 million rupees to 70 million rupees, or more, depending on variables like extra labor, unforeseen challenges, etc. Total cost in USD. Approximately 1 rupee equals $0.012. As of recent exchange rates, 58.4 million rupees approximately equals $700,800. 70 million rupees approximately equals $840,000. 4. Factors to consider. Permits and approvals. Government projects often include costs related to permissions and environmental impact assessments. Additional infrastructure. Costs for road paving, guardrails, and signage could add significant expenses. Safety and regulations. Meeting safety standards would require additional funds and workforce training. But pity and pathetic to tell you guys, Dashrath Manjhi was not given or any notable money but just appreciation and little regards from crooked politicians who earn name and fame on shoulders of such heroes, but they take all kickbacks and commission amounts for such big projects. If the Indian government or a large construction company undertook the project, the cost to carve a 360-foot long, 30-foot wide, and 300-foot high passage through a mountain would likely exceed 58 million rupees to 70 million rupees, $700,000 to $840,000. The time frame could be 2 to 3 years, depending on various factors such as weather and terrain. Dashrath Manjhi was more than a local hero. He was an embodiment of the highest form of human spirit. Unconditional love and self-sacrifice for the greater good. His life proves that heroism does not always require grand battles, epic quests, or supernatural feats. Sometimes, it is the quiet, tireless work of a man with a hammer and chisel that moves mountains and reshapes the lives of those around him. In a world where many heroes exist in stories, Dashrath Manjhi's legend is one that stands firmly on the ground, carved into the stone of a once impenetrable mountain, visible to all who seek a true testament to human resilience and altruism. The height of hypocrisy and shamelessness lies in the fact that for 23 years, while Dashrath Manjhi toiled alone, carving through the mountain, people mocked him, and no one extended a hand of help, despite the fact that Dashrath, an elderly man, was making the path easier for the entire region. Nobody came to his aid, neither physically, nor morally, nor financially. But, as soon as Dashrath passed away and the road through the mountain was completed, suddenly everyone began boasting, claiming to be relatives, friends, or villagers of Manjhi, and they paraded their so-called pride in his legacy. This is the ultimate manifestation of society's hypocrisy. That when he was alive, no one helped him, neither with a hand, nor with kindness, nor with money. Yet, after his death, everyone, be it the public, the media, or the politicians, started shouting his name, trying to claim a connection to him. Such is the curse of a society filled with double standards and deceit.